Wonderful.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Dr. Judea Harley, for this opportunity, and friends and family. My name is Yanni Barrow. I'm 23 years old, and I am a writer, blogger, content creator, and the state finalist for the Miss New York USA pageant. It is the preliminary to the Miss USA and then the Miss Universe. Today I will be talking about the power of storytelling. I will touch bases on how storytelling has impacted my life, the meaning, the true meaning behind storytelling, and also how to write your own story. So let's begin. My journey with storytelling started off with my time at Frank Sinatra School of the Arts. It's a performing arts school in Astoria, New York, and I majored in dance. So my first love for storytelling was dance. And then after graduated from Frank Sinatra, I attended Queensborough Community College and I studied liberal arts and sciences. But as you can see, there's a correlation between dance, storytelling, and the liberal arts. But when I was at Queensborough, I had a moment where I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do with my life. But I'm so blessed with my mother, my uncle, my family, my father, and they guided me. They said, you should attend Spelman College because Spelman is so powerful. The woman there can help lead you to the direction of your life. So after I applied to Spelman, I transferred there as a sophomore, and that's where my journey and my understanding of storytelling has just grown, basically. It was a super growth right there. So at Spelman, I earned my degree in English, Bachelor of Arts in English, and even then, I just wanted to study and learn what is writing. Who are the writers before me that paved the way for storytelling for me? But my love for storytelling and my understanding of it didn't happen until I graduated and all the lessons I have gone through. So now that my journey with storytelling has started with actually journaling when I was a kid. Yes, it started with dance, but as for the writing aspect, I learned how to understand my thought process, how to understand who I am and the gifts that God has given me, and to just be open and honest with it. So now that I gave you a brief story about my journey with storytelling, I would like to talk about what is storytelling. When I looked up the definition of storytelling, it's defined as the activity of telling stories. So that's pretty broad, but that's because storytelling is more than just the activity of telling stories. So I have a question for you. When you think of storytelling, what activity instantly comes to mind? Does anybody know? Usually when storytelling comes to mind, an activity is writing. A lot of people think writing is just the basis of storytelling. But it's not just writing. The activities can consist of dance, as we saw. Activities consist of music, as well as playing sports, cooking, resting. Everything is storytelling. Storytelling is not just speaking verbally, it is body language. You can tell a lot about a person by how they sit, how they talk, just by looking at them. When you're traveling on the train and you can tell somebody's a little sketchy, you are judging them, but you can tell sometimes by their energy, there's a story behind why somebody is the way they are. But now that we understand there's different activities that go along with storytelling, let's talk about the 4 different types of storytelling. They are all grouped into 4 different areas. You have oral storytelling, written, digital, and visual. Oral storytelling is basically what I'm doing, or if you're listening to a podcast or you're just telling a story. That's a real, I think, the basis of storytelling. You just tell someone about your life or any story that you're trying to convey. Written storytelling is when you're physically writing something down, or it can also consist of symbols as well. Digital storytelling, which is literally what we're going through nowadays, it could be considered content creation, film, television, anything that you see. And lastly, I think I did, but it was a lot of them: oral, written, digital, and I think I said visual. Yes, thank you. Visual storytelling is also art, dance, films, and television as well. Now that you have a basis of what storytelling is considered in a more informative aspect, now let's talk about how to write story and the true power and meaning of storytelling. When someone asks me, what is storytelling to me? I have 5 elements, 5 factors. Storytelling is the self, it is a moment, it is time, it is perception, and it's also your understanding of everything combined. Storytelling is not just a book that you read. It is literally life. and it's also the reflection of death as well. Life and storytelling correlate, and it's everything that you're going through. What we're doing right now at this moment is a story. You could go back home and tell someone, I have something to tell you that happened today. That's a form of storytelling. The Bible is a form of storytelling. There's many lessons in the Bible for you to learn from. Storytelling is extremely powerful. It's so powerful that it changes people's minds and perceptions. It has started wars, ended wars, started marriages, ended marriages. Got your kids into school. They had to write a letter to get into school. And if your kid was acting crazy, got them out of school. But they also had to write an appeal letter to get them back into school. And storytelling, writing, has also showed the reflection of the documentation of life and birth and the end of someone's life as well. To this day, I still talk about my grandmother that has passed, and but how lovely she was, her lessons. Also, with all this understanding of how storytelling is not something that's simple, it's literally the present moment and what you're going through in your life, I would like to give you some tips on how to start storytelling. Where do you begin? If you want to be a writer or someone that gives speeches or just anything that you want, storytelling applies to everything. You start off with how you think. I recommend journaling because it's just the easiest way to understand your thought process. How do you think? How do you feel? And when you're journaling your thoughts, and you could either reread them or just move forward, be honest with yourself. Don't judge yourself. Don't hold yourself back with whatever you're writing about, because it's a part of the story. Sometimes when I think about God, I imagine God viewing us like a Netflix channel. There's so many people that have their own story, their own episodes, and God is like, let me see how this person is doing. Even though God is with us every second of the day. You know, some moments you really, really feel God's presence right here. And I'm like, oh, I know God is watching me right now at every moment. That's how I think of God. We all have a story. So be honest with your story. Be open about it. Do not hold back or judge yourself. The next point I have is, if you're not really into writing, start small. My uncle taught me that it just takes 5 minutes. You don't have to spend 10 to 15 minutes writing a lot. Spend 5 minutes, and that 5 minutes is enough. It's better than not having anything at all. The next point I have is just to let it flow. Don't force it. If it comes, it's like writer's block. You know, when a writer is writing sometimes and they have a moment where they feel like they hit a brick wall, in my opinion, I don't think you should force it. I believe and have faith that will always come back. Sometimes you just need a moment. Respect your process. The next point I have is study other writers, study other storytellers, whether it's within film, they have podcasts, writing stories, study them. You don't have to write like them or be like them because you have your own gifts, but have respect and understand their process, their life. Basically. Like, one of my favorite writers is Octavia E. Butler. If you haven't read Kindred, I highly recommend that you do. See, Kindred is an amazing book from start to beginning, and it's the story of one woman and her journey from going through the past and present and how it has reflected her today in society. And my last point is to write. When you're ready to write from your own experiences. A lot of people think that when you write stories, or if you're trying to tell someone a story, you have to make it up. That's not true. One of the best, the stories that win Oscars, one of the best stories out there are the ones where people could relate. And the ones that people could relate is the true stories about the human experience. Yes, you have amazing stories that are like about fantasy, but it's the ones that you don't really hear about that are underlined. So start with your own experience, whether you're young now, old, not old, but young now, older. Start with your own experience, really. But thank you, everyone. This is everything. Wonderful. I appreciate it.